Hi, guys. Welcome back with History Muted Podcast. And I'm Nicole, and I'm here with Adam. And we are going to get into breaking news this first part of the podcast. And then we're going to go back and kind of unmute some history because there is definitely some history that needs to be unmuted when it comes into terms of King Leopold II of Belgium. Stay tuned. So we'll go ahead and hop into kind of like the breaking news, which I'm kind of really excited about, as you know, Adam, especially with what just happened in terms of this shooting. I say that very loosely of the ballroom. Before we really get into things, I just want to make things again clear. I know I have things posted on the podcast in terms of like disclaimers and things, but everything we're talking about, especially in terms of discussion, with the breaking news with Adam and I, is really strictly for entertainment purposes. It's really our own thoughts and opinions. So we both strongly encourage everyone to do research yourselves, formulate your own opinions, look at all sides. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's get into
All
it.
right. So, I don't know if you guys know what happened last night, but there was a shooter that went into the kind of lobby area of where the um was like the convention
The
kind of
Hilton,
what
I think
exactly was it?
that's my Hilton. I'm pretty sure it's at
Yeah,
the
and
Hilton. Because Aaron
they're doing
Parnas
the
actually made a really funny joke. He was like, "It was easier to get into the Hilton than it was to Costco."
that's funny.
He's really funny.
So, the correspondence dinner was what it was. I just remembered this. Sorry, guys, this is brand new information. Um, so there was a shooter. He allegedly killed one person and was taken in custody. The alleged shooter, I'm going to use allegedly a lot when I'm talking about this. The alleged shooter is a teacher from California, and that's who they're saying did this. And they're saying that he was a Democrat that voted for VP Harris in 24. President Trump said that's why we need the ballroom right afterwards. A lot of other kind of sussy things happen leading
Yeah.
up to it and afterwards that are kinda odd, but again, we're gonna say allegedly a lot because we don't have a lot of information, and a lot of this is the speculation,
Yeah, and there's a lot of
we're speculating.
information even coming out right now too. Like I saw photos floating around of this alleged shooter wearing IDF sweatshirts, which was quite interesting. There's also a lot of different imagery going around. Like there was a video being shown of Cash Patel who was seemingly like very calm. Um and he had, I think I would assume as his girlfriend, he was protecting some guest lower by his legs. And he kept checking his watch, which I thought was really weird. Um, which Adam knows my views on this already. I personally feel that it is a false flag. I feel like the US is very prominent on doing those. Um, but and the reason why I'm thinking this is because things to me are kind of hinky in terms of this whole ballroom shooting. Um, for example, like the whole situation went down. Like they cleared JD Vance out of the off the stage before the president. And that to me is so like that to me already is like, why would you pull the vice president before you pull the president? Like that to me is so hinky. Um and just the whole thing was kinda just weird. I don't know if you've seen it, Adam, because I know it's, like, really kinda pretty fresh. There's also a image of, which I believe Midas Touch has a lot of these imageries, um, of Stephen Miller hiding behind Katie Miller, which if you guys know or remember, she's currently very pregnant right now. So that was an interesting photo to see. Not only that,
Oh,
RFK
I'm not
Jr.
surprised
was
by that, Rose.
you
I'm
should
not
see
surprised.
it. It's Oh my god, and then RFK Jr. is being dragged away by, Secret Service for protection, and you see his wife, Carol Hines, trailing behind him trying to catch up with no security.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's speaking funny of again. this is very brand new. I don't have honestly, we don't have as much information as Cole does, but, what I've heard, there was very limited security. He is this shooter, the alleged shooter, was able to even walk in. So, again, we're just speculating. Um, this is all allegedly our opinions, and all these things are allegedly happened. But yeah, it's very suspect. The U.S. has done false flags, mostly in other countries, but it's
Yeah,
not out of
and
the
it's
realm
like
possibility.
it's interesting that you keep also with security because from what I'm getting also from outside kind of media sources in terms and when I say media sources, I'm not talking about CNN and the places that we can no longer trust. I'm talking about like Midas Touch and controversially Aaron Parnas because I feel like a lot of people are very controversial when it comes to Aaron Parnas and his news reporting given his stance in terms of CASA, but regardless, he's providing information way better than any of the other journalists. So kudos to him on that. Like at this point with all the censorship, like who really cares as long as we're getting accurate information and not being told
Yeah,
constant lies or like, Fox News status. But these were they from what I got from them in terms of security that you could have entered the building. They didn't have any metal detectors when entering in the building. The only time they had metal detectors to check you was when you entered the ballroom itself. That's it.
yeah. That's
I also find
that's
in terms of, like, thinking that it's a false flag, it's because to me, it's so hinky, and I mean, and we also know that, like, Donald Trump too, he's not one to be very, I guess, more talking about emotions and feelings and or any sort of empathy really in terms of, like, events. So, I find it also funny that his first, like well, not really his first, but his one of his Truth Social posts or X posts, we're talking about how, "Oh, this is why we need the White House ballroom because of, things like this," and like, first of all, the the whole event itself is not even a White House event, like, so why would it like, it doesn't necessarily would need to be held at the White House, and not only that, this extravagant ballroom that he's building typically will only hold I think it's what I read was like 1,000 some odd people, but this correspondence dinner has anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 people. So the fact that it's like it's almost like it's all just this whole ploy to further push the ballroom because the ballroom is going up for reevaluation by the courts in June to kind of really determine if Donald Trump even had the authority to even do this without congressional approval. And I think it's all kind of just they're trying to do like a prelude to the story that they want told, right? Which, as we know in history, that's how these people do it. Like, just whatever it's called. So I know we're talking a lot about the ballroom, so we can all go off and jump on other things because there's definitely more to talk about in the news. But I'm interested to see how much more this will play out. I also want to see in terms of how this investigation goes because if this investigation on this dude just kind of like bloop bloop, then we know. Like we know, just like his like ear shooting. Why would he like? Why wouldn't they investigate that further. We never even heard any more like, we heard, "Oh, shoot, and all this chaos, and then, oh, Trump's like this," but then we never heard anything about it, which to me is already a false flag, and also too, for, like, the listeners out there, like, I don't know. This is a personal opinion of mine, but if you immediately jump to, well, this person, and talk about all the things that they are opposition to what you typically stand for, like, "Oh, they were a Democrat," and I also heard, um that this alleged shooter was also a naturalized citizen, which also would further push their agenda. Like, if you were already like highlighting items that direct towards your agenda, to me, that's already disingenuous, and that's just a fear, just giant neon sign that it's a false flag, right? But that's
yeah.
my own personal whatever on that.
Yeah,
So
for sure. No, a lot of things you don't have coincidences or like some things coincidence or they're happening
no,
for a
I don't.
reason. So
Right, I don't believe it just
yeah,
like. those are very rare and far in between, like actual, real, true coincidences. Like, no, it's not. Coincidences are never this freaking frequent. Like, that's insane. I just And then we got all the craziness in terms of like, Iran and the Strait of Hormuz, which I don't think anyone can really get on track on. Is it open? Is it closed? Is it going? Is it not? Who's allowed?
Yeah.
Who's not? And
Which,
I just find it kind of
be a nice
creepy.
transition into what we're gonna talk about. So that is, our next, topic. Is the Strait of Hormuz ever gonna be open? Is it closed? What's going on with that? So, if you don't know, the strait has been closed for since February 28th by Iran. Most of the oil from that area comes through that area. About 20% of the world's oil comes through that strait. Um, they are choking that strait to hurt our economy and the world economy, and they don't seem like they're ever going to open it again until we actually stop bombing them and doing a actual ceasefire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
also too, the whole blockade too, because like they're like, "Oh yeah," and then the US is like, "Oh, we're going to continue this blockade and we're going to, you know, continue this until it's for sure this ceasefire agreement whatever." It's like, "No." And that's my problem with a lot of things in terms of like America and what we've done to other countries. We bullied them. Like, for example, like when we took over, the whole territories, the countries of and not countries, the states, when we took over Mexico, like when we kind of bullied Mexico into selling the land that is, now California, New Mexico, all of that, we did the same thing. We set up troops and we just sat there and we bullied them until we got our way. And I feel like that's the same thing with the Strait of Hormuz. And also, the fact that the president is just acting like he owns the strait is I don't know why people don't find that effing weird. Like, we get so upset because, Obama wore a freaking tan suit and he asked for Dijon mustard and, Biden regularly went and got ice cream. Like, they were so upset about that. But you're not upset that this literal person in office is acting like he owns the world and that he can do whatever to the world. And that to me is like I don't understand. And the mentality too just like really kills me in terms of a lot of Americans that I've seen, especially here in the state of Oklahoma, that it's like, oh, we're America. America, we're the strongest. We can do whatever we want. It's like the entitlement mentality here is so cringy. But I digress. I'm going off subject on that. Like, and I think the administration is intentionally trying to cause confusion because in the beginning with the Strait of Hormuz, yes, it was closed, but it was only closed to US. The other countries were using it. And then they had a moment where they actually did fully close it and they're like, we're gonna put on now I guess charge for these vessels to go through. And it was like was it I can't remember how much per barrel, but up to $2 million a tanker to go through the Strait of Hormuz as kind of like a tax, which honestly very smart in Iran's part because then they can actually gain some, income, I guess you would say, during time of war to kind of help them keep going during this time. But now it's from and it was like on and off, but it was mostly only blocked for the US. And this administration has caused so much confusion that they think that people here think like, oh, it's completely closed for like completely in the beginning, but that wasn't the case. It is now. Now with they cut it for, like, completely from my understanding. I don't even think other boats have managed to gone through. Do you know any reports of any boats going through?
they a few of them very slowly when the ceasefire was going on
Yeah. There was,
after
like, 9
the
boats during that time, I think.
after after like the when the US took over that Iran ship, Iran bombed a couple ships going through. So, not many, and, I think it's completely closed now, actually. So they're not having any of these talks. So the administration says essentially every week, we're going to talk to Iran. They're going to get a deal. Iran shortly responds saying, we're not talking to anyone and there's no deal. So it's essentially just to calm the markets.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we need to think about the dates of when this actually occurred, but um there was actually a foreign minister. It was like Abbas, which I'm definitely gonna butcher this name. It's like Abbas Gagarchi. He traveled to Islamabad to for potential peace talks. And he was going to speak with Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. And this is why I find it really funny in terms of like this administration saying like, oh, we're trying to negotiate and we're trying to do this and we're trying to the Trump administration actually canceled this trip. They're like, "Mm, you can do it over the phone. There's no need for lengthy travel." I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but in terms of, like, negotiating for a war, you do that over the phone rather in person. It's just so weird to me. What might as well text it. You might as well do it through your tweets like you've been do like, that's so impersonal, and I just think it's just kinda just really disrespectful too, because if you already had this plans to go there and there's somebody else or also already planning to go there, then this has been in the talks. And to last minute cancel like that is like, I just think this is so disrespectful. But at the same time, we know America doesn't really respect Iran. So
Yeah.
and
I
it's
don't think
unfortunate.
they're trying to do any type of deal. I think they're trying to stall until they get more weapons and figure out their plan. But the issue with that is if you surrender, then they would have to take all the troops out of the Middle East, which they don't want to do, and Israel doesn't want them to do.
Yeah,
And they escalate even more, then that's just going to hurt the world economy even more. Uh, it's not a winnable war. It'd be 10 times worse than Iraq. And regardless, Iran wins every scenario, really.
yeah,
Like, they win if we don't do anything, they win if we surrender. Honestly, they win if we try to escalate.
it's true. And speaking of that, in terms of like that, I think that's why, which I thoroughly believe this. It's all rumored. It's not necessarily fact. But it's been going around that Trump tried to use the nuclear codes over this past weekend. And the military actually stopped him from being able to get those codes. And that's when he was like completely like unhinged. It was like the weekend of the 18th and 19th. He was just going through it, and Iran was I keep saying Iran, Oklahoma. I try to say it properly because 'cause I've been getting trolled on TikTok for saying it wrong. Iran. So, Iran, they were just trolling him all that weekend, just really mocking him, which if you know anyone, and this is again my personal opinion, this does not necessarily say says it, has it. It's been said multiple times in different publications about him with it. Thoroughly agree with these publications, but this is what happens when you when you troll a narcissist. When they can't control the narrative, they lose their damn mind. They absolutely cannot handle it because it's going against the character that they built, right?
Mm.
So he was going nuts. So the fact that there's this rumor that he tried to get the nuclear codes to nuke it on, which we already know he's like, I'm gonna decimate them. I'm gonna take them all out. I'm gonna completely destroy their whole country. So, like in terms of those nuclear codes, that's why I feel like that Donald Trump actually tried to get them because the whole him them just trolling him and just poking at his, like, narcissistic personality disorder that people
In his
claim that he
ego.
has. Yeah. So that's why I definitely think that he tried to nuke them, and if that's the case, like, that would be the world will never forgive us. Um, I don't understand why we even have nuclear weapons. Do you wanna hear a funny history fact, actually? He We developed, these, weapons of mass destruction before sunscreen was invented.
Wow. I know that.
Sorry, just a random little I'm full of, like,
Yeah.
just random little tidbits,
I
and just
mean,
talking about
yeah.
weapons of mass destruction made me think of that.
And what are you saying about, like, I wish no one had them, but honestly, Iran was stupid not to have it before, and if we don't completely destroy the country, they'd be stupid not to try to get them again.
Well, I mean, they
Because
never really tried to have the nuclear weapons for
which is the
several
problem,
years.
honestly. They should
No, I mean,
have.
it is
They should have.
they they definitely need further protection because
'Cause
they are really, um,
you
I
know
don't
who
know,
has nuclear weapons and doesn't get fucked with? North Korea.
that part. He's just ready for war too. That man
China
is
or
just
Russia. Like, these countries don't get fucked with because they have nuclear weapons.
yeah, I just find it really which another thing which I don't understand why Americans don't really understand or get it, like, they still believe this propaganda against Iran and the Middle East about, like, "Oh, they just wanna destroy Americans, like, death to American, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah." And it's like and they're just trying to get nuclear weapons. They've been 2 weeks away from nuclear weapons since the early '90s, okay?
It's
Just 2
worth
weeks
their
away.
life.
Way. And, like, people forget there was, like, Operation Hammer Midnight Hammer last summer. It was Operation Midnight Hammer, and Tulsi Gabbard was like, "Yeah, we went in, we took out their nuclear facilities, concreted them shut, and they can't even get back to that for maybe at least we set them back at least 5 years." Oh, did you? And yet we're attacking them now for nuclear weapons, but you just said in the summer that you stopped them and this is in court documents. You can get it from the government website on her deposition on talking about this. And she
Yeah.
literally states 5 minutes like, shoot, I think it might be even on the wiki. There might be a Wikipedia page
And
for it."
and she pretty much got sidelined in administration after she said that. She's
Yeah.
essentially doesn't exist in the administration anymore.
Well, you're right. They keep track. And I don't know if you saw this too in terms of like how the since we're
But
talking
she
about
still
the
has a job,
administration.
but kind of.
Did you see that they're from rumored they're pushing Cash Patel? Cash Patel's not getting pushed out. So we lost Bondi now. Um, Carol, I almost said her by her funny name, Carolyn Levitt. Um, she is being moved out of her position. She's no longer works under the administration for what she said on a interview with the media, but I think she's being moved to terms of her pregnancy, which I don't know if you've seen pictures of Carolyn Levitt. Does she look pregnant to you? Like, at
Uh,
all? Like, I don't know if it's a surrogate situation, but I'm like,
I don't know.
"You
All
don't
of them
look
look
like
alike
me."
to me, so I don't really pay attention to them.
Yeah, I don't understand the whole admin they're so just wackadoodle,
And
but
I mean, Pat Patel's probably gonna get kicked out of that story about him being an alcoholic. All these things are known. Like,
yeah. It's
when they start trying to kick you out, they're gonna start leaking shit.
it's a whole administration full of just drunks. I'm sorry. You have, what's her name? Jenny Jeannie Shapiro, who's the she's literally known through the media, even during her times as a celebrity, I very loosely using that term celebrity, is known to be likes the, hitting the bottle. Pete Hegseth, he already has a record of hitting that bottle.
Big
Every
kegs
single
rock.
MFer in there, yeah,
Yeah.
if
She the judge, Shapiro, or whatever her name is, she was,
yeah,
like when she was on Fox News, you could tell that she was hammered half the time.
yeah,
She
people
would slur her
it's
words and
known.
yeah,
And
so
then we have these people
that's
just
been done.
running the MFing country, like
Yeah.
and oh my god, since we're talking about the ridiculousness of this administration, did you see the depositions with RFK Jr. when he's talking about, like, his what he's doing within his position and how he's benefiting and everything, and the Congress was asking him about it, and he doubled down on Trump's math. He said that And I and you know what's so it's sad and kinda scary that I genuinely think he actually believes that this is how math works. He he was like with in terms of drug prices, he's like, "Yeah, he did bring him down 600%." When you drop a drug price from $600 to $100, that's a 600% change. And I'm like, my brain can't even
Um,
comprehend the
yeah, I heard
stupidity.
about that. He got a he, like, tweeted that and he got, like, a community note, like, really badly on that. Like, "This doesn't make sense."
Yeah,
Essentially what
that
the
math
community note said.
is not mathing.
Yeah,
That was not mathing.
not nothing at all.
And, like, it's unfortunate that people actually believe it. And people are like, "Oh, he's doing so great because, like, Trump RX." Listen, people, I don't know if people actually understand this, but Trump RX is basically Good RX, just renamed and rebranded. So, like, it's not something that's new.
Yeah. Alright,
I don't
one more question on this, topic, and then we can move to something else. For our listeners, and really for everyone, gas prices, fertilizer prices, and food costs. Is this gonna be hitting regular American, and where is this gonna end? I feel like it's gonna hit everyone.
it's
Since the
gonna
streets
hit
are closed,
yeah,
diesel prices are gonna be super expensive, like, I think it's gonna hit everything.
it's gonna hit globally. I
Yeah,
actually
already
had
really is.
a TikTok that I talked about the fertilizer thing, and the amount of just ignorance out there, they're like, "Oh, it's just compost. They just need to you can make I make compost at home." Do y'all know how long it takes to make compost? Like, do you guys know, like, it actually has to naturally break down, like, there's a whole and even then, so, like, I just there's a certain type of fertilizer that also comes through, and I can't remember what is nitrogen, so I can't remember. There's a whole chemical compound in terms of that, that's really beneficial for crops such as corn and stuff like that, and I don't think people understand that it's not just like a catch-all. Me, personally, I'm like, me, I'm in my, granny, hobby, like, era, right,
Yeah,
and I've
yeah.
been really gardening lately, and there's, like, a lot of specifics. You can't just use same thing, some plants require different type of, like, acidity in the soil and things like that. It doesn't the ignorance of people, that just kills me, and, like, we talked about the street hormones, and, like, 30 to 33% of the world's fertilizer goes through there, and yeah, there's farms that were reporting that they can't afford it, and which and that again, ignorance that I get from other people. They're like, "Oh, there's a lot of farms that can they're fine. They're affording it just fine, these corporate farms." And it's like, I'm not worried about the corporate farms. I'm worried about mom and pop who's been raising their freaking farm since generations back to great 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 grandfather that they've held on this farm their whole entire lives, and they're about to lose their family's legacy. That's what people are not getting. Like, and the fact that they don't understand the importance of that, like, to have everything under corporate, like, to be a fully capitalistic society is so dangerous, and I don't think people understand how dangerous that is.
Yeah, everything's gonna be like, oh, same before, everything is gonna be more expensive. If we
Mhm.
have corporate farms, they're gonna get as much profit as they can because that's capitalism.
And cut corners in terms of when it
Corner,
comes to
yeah,
pesticides and things like that, and, like, people are so ignorant. They're like, "Well, I just go buy grass-fed beef anyways." I'm like, companies are allowed to mark things as grass-fed beef
I was about to
as
say, yeah,
long as cows only were grass I can't remember the whole details of it. Please look it up yourself because I'm probably talking, like, ignorantly right now, but, from my understanding, it's, like, a up until the point until their death, like, a certain time frame up until their death, as long as it exceeds this amount of time frame, they can label it grass-fed. Even if it wasn't grass-fed their whole life, just up until extinction, I guess, whatever, termination, that you can label it grass-fed,
yeah.
and I'm like, "So they're still getting crap, you just don't do it." Just, oh.
Again,
Oh.
and so diesel's more expensive, so our food's gonna be more expensive because most of our food travels through diesel trucks.
Mhm.
The plastic that all our food is made from diesel.
Mhm.
Our planes use diesel to fly everything.
You
Like, I don't
and
think
everything
people
oil
understand, like
just to operate
I
too.
don't think people understand, like, if you can, this is my advice to anyone. If you can travel, travel right now, because you probably gonna be traveling for a long ass time. And if
That
you can
part.
save money, save fucking money. And learn how to garden. Kinda like Nicole's doing. Learn how to garden. Because
Yeah,
shit's
I got
gonna get
chicken,
crazy, crazy
everything.
fucking expensive. I don't think
Yeah,
people really realize what's going on.
and I don't think they also understand how bad it's gonna be because these prices were gonna increase, but not only that, if you guys are actually paying attention, people are noticing shrinkflation at stores. So there's gonna be packaging looks like normal size, if not maybe even larger, but if you look at the actual, like, ounces, or whatever weight that product is in terms of what it used to be prior, it's starting to lower and lower, lower. Like, normally you see packages are like, says 12 ounce. Now we're seeing it show like 11 ounces or 10 ounces. People are also noticing, like, for example, I know mac and cheese was a really big thing that people are saying. They have these mac and cheese boxes and it says, there's like 3 servings per box. And they'll make it and they'll scoop it out like a serving is saying on 1 cup size. And they're like, all right, let's do it. And it'll literally come out to two and like maybe a fourth cup. Maybe a fourth. And more like a sixth. Like it's not even equaling up to what they're actually saying, which this also further goes to, like, the people who go out there and they pay attention to that little nutrition fact thing. If that weight and that measurement is not coming out correctly, like, saying it's, like, 3 cups is this, and that nutritional breakdown on the back of the box, that means those are lies. That means that nutritional breakdown is not true because it's based on this amount of serving size for, this many servings per box and this amount of serving size, and I don't think people are even considering that. Not only that, I think a lot of people need to, like you said, really focus on trying to garden and, really, in a way, feed themselves. Because one thing that really got me starting into doing that is because, for example, bread that you normally buy in the store, there's so much preservatives and additives and things like that they actually put in. It's like I can't remember what the chemical compound is, but it's the same chemical that they put in yoga mats in our bread that we eat. I don't think a lot of people also realize it. I even started to mill my own flour. I know that sounds crazy, but if you guys think about like other countries, like let's say Africa, even France and the Europe, these people regularly eat bread. Okay, even in Italy, the pasta regularly eat bread, and they're not like in America how we have this obesity epidemic. Why is that? A lot of people don't realize flour was never meant to be shelf stable.
Mhm.
Flour uses it loses its nutrients after about I think about 6 months from when it's grinded out of the berry, because they come from wheat berries, they're very sifted through. The white flour that you buy from the store doesn't have enough, doesn't have a lot of germate in 'em, so it's definitely really, really processed. But when you do that too, and by the time these bags of flours really hit the shelves, there's no nutritional value in it. That's why if you look at a bag of flour, you can see where they have like iron additive and different nutrients added into the flour because it doesn't standardly come with it. Because bread in other places is actually healthy.
Yeah.
And it's like that to me is so mind blowing.
Like, our food is the reason why most Americans are fat.
That's
Our
facts. That
food
is
and we're super car dependent as a society.
yep. And our
That's really the
FDA.
main 2 reasons. We don't like, Europe's a tiny ass continent, and
But they're a lot
the
more strict on like, for example, the Fanta soda out there is orange by color because it's, like, naturally colored orange rather than this neon, toxic, crazy shit that we have here, you know?
yeah,
It's
you
different.
can walk like, most of Europe, you can walk around in.
Yeah.
If you live unless you live in a major city in America, you're gonna have to drive pretty much everywhere.
Mhm. Yep.
So, that's segueing to a major city, so our next topic is gonna be about Zoran and President Obama meeting at a Bronx school. I don't know if you guys saw that, but, Zoran the mayor from New York City, met President Obama for the first time this last week. They read books and sang to children, Wheels on a Bus. They the optics really, might be giving Zoran the blessing as a new generation of Democratic leaders, or honestly, he might just be hitching his wagon to one of the best politicians in the country. That
Yeah.
is kind of my question for everyone, and you as well, Nicole. Is Obama kind of giving the left more credit and he's more openness to the left, or is he just using this as an opportunity to get in with a really popular politician?
I think it's a little bit of both. I would
Okay.
say a little bit of both. So getting in with Zohran Mamdani will further boost. So they kind of go hand in hand, right? Um, and so I think it's a little combination of each of those, and all this actually this with him with Obama meeting with Mamdani it's actually very new to me. I'm very like so I'm kind of learning with you when you speak about it. That's something I actually missed. Uh, but
You can talk a little bit more about it then,
no, I
if
but I
you.
do. I really like Mamdani. Like, it's funny that all these states are like, "That's my mayor," from, like, Arizona. Like, they're saying it from all the places. I'm like, I would say that too, but I'm very big into David Holt here in Oklahoma. Like, he's also a top tier mayor. Don't get me wrong, like, Mamdani, much better. I like his socialist ideas that he's bringing in, especially in terms of the city-owned grocery store.
Yeah.
Such great concepts. I actually talked to my partner about it because he's like, "I don't know how that's gonna work." And I'm like, "You gotta pay employees and da 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 da," and I'm like, or you could literally set up a volunteer program for a grocery store, especially people who need to do like, hours in terms of volunteering when it comes to the court. Or you can even bring in homeless people, allow them to work at the grocery store for a certain amount of store credit in order to get food. Like there's so many different things that you can come up that would benefit society that doesn't necessarily cost taxpayers. Because I feel like that's the big fear like Republicans really push out there is that, "Oh, it's gonna cost more money. All these Democrats, all they wanna do is spend more money. They're gonna charge you the money. They're gonna charge you the money." But that's not how that's not how the whole more socialistic I know I'm saying communist is probably freaking people out, but, like, Marxist kind of ideas, which, me and my whole getting into the Marxism thing. Like
Yeah.
and I talk about this because, he's a democratic socialist, or he's a
Yeah, he's a
so
Democrat. I mean,
did I say that
he
right? Or
called
is it
he
socialist
no, no,
Democrat
you
or
did it right.
Democrat?
He says
I
he's
get
a socialist, but he governs like a democratic socialist.
Yeah. Yeah, but he brings in socialist ideas, and that really is, and that's really kind of almost like a Marxist idea because in terms of Marxism, you the city or the state itself or the country's government owns these private properties. And what kills me about a lot of like people in the ignorance when they hear private properties, they think they're not going to own my house, they're not going to own my car. Okay, listen, no, that's personal property. That's not the same. And I think that's where a lot of people get confused and get really like when it comes to like Marxism. And no, private property means like means of like infrastructure, resources, things like that. It's like building lumber and the groceries and those type of things that are like society beneficial. Anyways, I digress. Not personal property, but I do love Mamdani a lot. So like hearing about this is really exciting for me.
Yeah. So some people on the left I've seen on Twitter don't like that Zoran was meeting with Obama because Obama's record as president of doing things in the Middle East. But I understand that criticism, but this is politics. Obama's still the most popular politician with the liberal libs. And if Obama gets the go ahead for Zoran, then that's a big thing for me. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we're on the left, but the majority of the Democratic Party is liberal,
Yeah.
and it's not the same. Like, I'm not a liberal. I'm not as left as Nicole is, but I'm pretty close. So, like,
Yeah,
if we had a choice, she's not even a Democrat, but I
yeah,
am.
I'm
If
so
we had a
left, it's
choice,
almost scary.
yeah.
I would
If
probably
we
freak
had a
people
choice,
out.
we wouldn't be Democrats. We would be some other party. But
Yeah, I
that's a different conversation.
and it cracks me up too because I'll be talking about things, and I'm just saying things like, how, like, during like, just to kind of talk about, like, leading up to what I'm saying, like, my previous TikToks, I made things talking about how, like, China, is making it through the Strait of Hormuz, which was true. They got 2 ships through, along there were 7 other ships during that time too, but so many people just, like, came in and was like, "Blah, blah, blah," and they're like, "Oh, coming from a freaking Democrat, you freaking Democrat," and I'm like, "First of all, I'm not a Democrat, and if I tell you what I am, I will terrify you a lot further than what you're freaking out about too," and it also kills me about all these people who are just you can tell and what cracks me up about this, okay, this is what's really I find really funny about this whole political environment that we're in and these, all the different voices that we hear, especially terms
Mhm.
on the like super Republican side. How they say like they use liberal as an insult and they say like libtard and like and I'm like to me, I'm like, you're already showing me that you're uneducated
Yeah.
because you wanna sit there and you wanna talk about, like, these are the same "don't tread on me" people, and they want their
Yeah.
individual rights and blah, 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 and they're like, "We fight for democracy because 'cause we're patriots." Okay, well, liberal means that you believe in democracy, free enterprise, individual rights, so, yeah. Calling people liberal is not as much as of an insult as you people fucking think it is. Like and it kills me, I'm like, "You're showing me that you're just uneducated." And the amount of times I've asked people to just give me the actual definition of liberal, no one. And the only the freaking, responses I get are like, "Oh, you blue-haired nose ring fuckers." And it's like,
I okay. I don't wanna get on this too much, but,
"Yeah,
because we have other things to talk about, but
sure." I do go on tangents.
Nicole
I'm
put
unhinged.
a did a, post about the Confederacy on
Yes.
TikTok, and she put it on Facebook.
Oh, the Facebook.
TikTok, it didn't really do much on, but Facebook, oh my god!
Yeah. Which I'm
Because
part of that.
Facebook is way more conservative,
Mhm.
and holy fuck, it's like Nicole and I were
Yeah.
tag team and battling dipshits there in the comments because wild, like,
It's so
wild.
ignorant, and just to give people some context on the video I made, so I was talking about how, like, this is how you know America is proud of their racism, and that's how I started off the video saying that, and I said, for um, I don't know what's the situation, I didn't say this is not verbatim how I said it, but I'm pretty much saying, like, "Oh, for the Confederacy only lasting 4 years, we sure do have a lot of statues for something that they didn't even win." And a lot of people and it's funny to me again, these people are so uneducated. They don't realize when they do crap like this, it just shows that they're uneducated. But they come out of the woodworks and are like, "Oh, what you want to tear down all the statues? Blah 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 blah. That's our history. That's our pride." Blah blah. Blah. And I'm like, "You're just proving my point that you're
Yeah.
proud in your racism because." If you were really proud and oh, it was a war and we should be recognizing our generals, then wars that are longer than that, like I said, the Vietnam War, the Middle Eastern wars, why don't we have statues of those generals? And why aren't you proud of them? Exactly. It's because it's racist, because you guys are proud of your racism. You're proud of that racist heritage. And like you know me and the whole getting I won't even get into further about the Civil War, 'cause I'll get into this whole conspiracy wormhole. But like the amount of crazy and I'm part of this group, Misfit Formation, which right now I'm doing a little shameless plug here. We're raising money for the National Immigrant, Justice Center. It's girls versus guys. If you go to our TikTok, follow our link tree, there's actually a link that you can follow to donate, to help out. It's girls versus guys right now. And yes, I know, Adam's also in history unit, but we're on the girls team. Sorry, Adam.
It's
So definitely donate if you can. But I was actually on a live with them and we are just kind of, discussing things and just also shoot the shiz. And even they were talking about, like, yeah, all the amount of trash that they get on Facebook is insane. Like, that's when it
mhm.
comes in thick, like, thick, thick.
Yeah.
And, like, I had people call me all kinds of things. I've had people private message me, pretty much saying I'm a POS, people saying that I need to
Yeah.
die. Um, yeah.
Because her and I both have the Facebook, like, um, unmuted on the, Facebook, and I kept on getting messages like, "You're a piece of shit. Hope you die." Like, "The fuck is going on?"
Yeah,
But
yeah.
before I knew
People
she,
are just
like,
so
uploaded that,
ridiculous.
I was like, "What
I
is
just
going
don't
on? Why we keep on getting all these bad
Oh,
messages?"
but
Like, "Oh,
our leftists we're the violent ones, remember?
yeah,
The ones on the other side of the scale, we're the violent ones.
yeah, sure."
The amount of times I've gotten a death threat is crazy, and it's really funny because I also get this insult a lot, saying that like, "Oh, you know, they call me him or call me a dude and trying to insinuate I'm a dude." And I'm like, "Go ahead and call me a dude. You're just mad because I got bigger balls than you. I'm not I'm not
That's
afraid."
funny.
Like, go ahead and live in your ignorance. It
That's
just
fun.
ugh, the people crack me. I don't think they understand. So if anyone's listening who hates me and you're just listening because, you wanna fuel your hate, you just fuel my day with laughter, just so you guys know.
Wow.
I'm generally cracking up like a psychopath when I'm reading these. You would think that I'm just mentally unwell. Uh, I probably am, but that's besides the point. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
So, our
But
next topic, oh, go ahead, sorry.
yeah, I was about to say we should go to the next
Yeah,
one because I'm like,
our next
man,
topic is gonna be about the Michigan, Democratic Convention. So, um, I've done at least one video about this Michigan race. It's 3 candidates. It is El Sayed, McMurrow, and Stevens. McMurrow is your Elizabeth Warren, progressive, but not really, kind of, she's kinda more leading into, like, your establishment Kamala Harris type of, Democrat. Then you got Stevens, which is just a corporate Democrat through and through. She's a AIPAC stooge. And
no.
then you got the good doctor, El Sayed, which he ran for governor in 2018 against Big Gretch and lost. And then he wrote a book about Medicare for all. So he's a Bernicrat. So they're all three duking it out for the Michigan Senate race. And they had they had like little booths. And I want you to look at the video right quick, and I'll describe it.
Yeah, 'cause
Um,
this is all very new
so
to me,
yeah,
Adam sent me the video.
yeah. So I want her to look at the video right quick. It is McMurrow is in a little band going across from El Sayed's little area that they were, and it's pretty cringe. I want to get her a live reaction
Like,
right fast.
flip it and show it.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe it'll flip it and show it.
yeah.
Is it playing?
Get to
Oh, but
bottom left.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Did you see it?
Yeah. I don't get it.
So you don't
I
get it?
don't get the
Okay, so
there was a
why
giant
don't
head. They made a giant head
yeah,
of her, like the sports heads.
yeah, yeah. So what they're going with is, and El Sayed was critical of them as well. So since they don't really have any policies, they want to go with we're happy, we're energetic, we don't make anyone mad. They want to go with the happiness of the Zoran campaign. Mind you, Zoran, yes, he had a lot of cheer in his campaign, but Zoran had policies, and
Yes.
he went after Cuomo like crazy. Like he called Cuomo a
Yeah.
pedophile and a
He
grandma
checked him.
murderer. Like so,
Yeah, and a rapist, basically. I don't know if
yeah.
he said
Oh,
rape, but,
not
he
pedophile.
definitely
Sorry,
said
rapist. I'm sorry, not
yeah,
pedophile. And
yeah.
sorry, I'm so used to call people pedophiles because it seems like everyone in the government is. Anyway,
It's so gross.
allegedly, sorry. But
Allegedly,
anyway,
allegedly.
so um, So again, they have no substance. Like that campaign is kind of like other establishment Democrat campaigns. They have no substance. They're just going off the vibes because they don't want to make their corporate people mad. Now, now McMurrow says that she doesn't take any PAC money. She doesn't take any APAC money, but she has before. And that's the only races she's ever won, which she took corporate PAC money. So there's that. Then um, Stevens. So Stevens was a congresswoman. Now she's running for Senate. And she was giving her little speech because it's a convention. So everyone gives their little speech. Stevens was giving her speech and she was getting booed because, again, she's an APAC stooge. No one wants to elect her. Only reason she's in the race still because, again, she's an APAC stooge. And she talks weird, like, she used to not talk like this, but now she has this weird accent she's using. Oh, you have to when we get off the episode, you have to listen to her because weird. She talks weird, like, it's not authentic, like, it's odd, she looks odd. I'm not trying to be rude, but she looks odd, she talks odd, like, I don't know. She has no viability in my eyes. So it's essentially, it's McMurrow and El Sayed. El Sayed is, I think, another reason why they, are doing this "we're happy, we're cheerful" type of thing with the McMurrow campaign is, um, El Sayed gets a lot of criticism because he's very serious and people say he's kinda depressing, but you really think about it, like, the world is depressing, like, a lot of people are
Politics is
suffering,
depressing.
right? Like, a lot of people are suffering, like, you should be mad. I'd rather someone that's doing doing things for people is kinda pissed off about it than a person that's gonna have some big, stupid head thing that's cheering and not
Dumb,
doing anything for my life.
dumb. It's
So,
politics, not freaking entertainment. Like, it's absolutely disgusting. And um, so I wanted to talk about El Sayed, right? Is what sorry if I mispronounced his name. Did you state that
yeah.
he was a doctor though?
Yeah, he used to be a doctor.
Excuse me, doctor. See, I think that's what I think what we need in our as government officials. We need people in the medical profession. We need people in the education sector. We need veterans. These are the people that need to make up Congress and have sprinkle some, legal people in there, some judges and attorneys. But what we really need is, like I said, educators, teachers. We need
Mhm.
in, like we need medical professionals across all kinds of
Yeah.
different medical
So,
professionals. I mean,
El
we
Sayed used to
down to
be
the
a,
EMT, okay? We need those type of people who are commonly for the people and
mhm,
understand, like, our struggles, not these nepotism bullsh who are so out of
yeah,
touch, who don't know. Like, I so badly, and I'm sure most people will agree with me on this. I so badly wish every single person before they can enter Congress or before they can even run for Congress to live in a medium-sized income, okay? I feel like they should require to foster 1 to 2 children during this time as long as they're safe. If you know, allegedly, quote, quote, you know what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
I don't
Anyway,
know. I don't know what some of these people.
right, living in a home, getting a regular biweekly paycheck, and having to maintain this home with their paycheck in terms of their bills and in terms of groceries, and they need to live like a standard person.
Yeah, they should
That's
be
what they
able
need to
to know how much a banana costs. If
do.
that's a
That part. Like,
Arrested Development reference.
they I've never seen that. But, like, I
That's really
agree.
funny. You
They
watch
need
it.
to understand what it's like how we live before entering Congress and making decisions for us and how we live. Like, this whole out of touch needs to go. Like, it just brings me back, and when you talk about this and how these people are so out of touch, my brain always goes to The Simple Life with Paris Hilton when she was like, "What's Walmart?" Like that's where my brain goes to when these nepo kids, I'm like, "Jesus." And, like, don't get me wrong, I love Paris Hilton, I do, I think she's, like, just the sweetest, so I'm not talking crap about her, but, like, the nepo because even she which sorry to go off track, in terms of Paris Hilton, even she as nepotism as she is, she's actually a humbled person, and I think honestly the simple life helped her with that. She's very I've heard her talk, and when she's not Paris Hilton, by the way, is a character that she plays. That is not if anyone knows this, it's actually a cha if you actually listen to her as speaking as herself, not the same person, and she's very humble, and I think other people need to be fucking humbled. That's the problem. The entitlement needs to go, and people need to be humbled. And that's why I always stand by the world is the way it is because people stop getting their butt beat because of cop collars because no one's getting humbled that way anymore, but
Yeah.
I won't get into that. I digress. So, woo.
Yeah. So,
I
the
know I said
next topic we're gonna talk about is, last Tuesday, Virginia had a little special election type of thing to redistrict their maps. So,
Mhm.
beforehand, Virginia was their congressional map was 6-5, Republican,
Yeah.
Democrat, Democrat, Republican. But now the people voted to redistrict it. So now it's likely going to be 10-1 Democrat to Republican. And this is a big response to the fuck shit that Trump wanted Texas to do, and they redistrict,
Free
and
Abbott.
California redistrict. So um, it was voted on April 21st, 51.5 yes, 48.6 no. Now, I don't like this, but I am happy that Democrats are finally fighting back
Mhm.
because Republicans don't play by the rules
No,
and they just do whatever they want.
facts.
And Democrats need to start doing that
Yeah.
because
Well,
we are way too close to fascism to be
Democrats do
doing
not
this.
do that, but they need to start getting more ballsy.
Yeah, they
Because the
need to.
Democrats do that too. We for sure lost democracy at that point, but yeah, they need to fight back a little bit stronger, like, give up a little bit, like but at the same time, it's all a pony show anyways. The Democrats are only there to it's I don't believe their fights are I think they're disingenuous. I think it's fight in front of cameras and laugh behind closed doors, to be honest, and that's my personal opinion. They're 2 wings to the same freaking bird.
I don't fully
The
agree with
problem.
it, but
Yeah.
definitely think they uh, are held by a lot of the same donors,
Ye
and I think that a lot of the a lot of the positions are similar.
Mhm.
Like for instance, Congress can't do shit unless there's the military about funding the military. They can't pay for anything, but when the military needs more money, they'll run to they want run
Oh,
to
yeah, all of a sudden,
that
there's
bill.
cash.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, so stupid.
I think you're onto something to some degree.
Uh,
So
but while we're talking about elections, though, something I wanna just to tell you to look into, and I feel like we should talk about this next time, because I don't really have a lot of context to provide right now. But and I also can't even remember his direct name, so my apologies. But I do wanna kinda mention this, and also for any listeners, you guys can look it up yourself. I don't know if you know this, and I did do a video on TikTok a bit back, but there is a 14-year-old running for governor in the state of Vermont. I'm pretty sure it's Vermont. So this 14-year-old who's been the state's resident for like this entire time looked into it and was like, "Oh, there's no age limit to running for this position. The only thing is that you have to be a resident of this state." And he was like, "I'm going for it." And he's actually going he's going on the ballots to be put on the primary. I honestly
interesting.
want a 14-year-old to win. I'm sorry. Well, I know that sounds so crazy. I know that sounds so crazy. I know you're looking at me so crazy right now. I know that sounds crazy, but I think we need to be okay, this is my hot take. We rely on these people who are technically supposed to be experts in these things, and all they've kept us is in the same box. We need outside voices, and we need outside minds. We also need the youth to be more involved. They have if I mean, even talking now, even, not necessarily my 16-year-old, but even her friends and the others in the age group, like, listening to their ideas and their thought process and thinking how they think outside the box, like, we need that. And yes, I know 14 is really, really young. I definitely would want probably something with a little bit more age and life experience and things like that. But what I'm getting at is we need more younger people because I also did a TikTok before about how I find it so strange that we elect these 78-year-olds to go into office and hold these positions when they weren't even experiencing these problems when they were 40, and they're the generation that caused really these problems to come forth today. And we're just leaving the same people who not always cause these issues, but for the most part, their generation brought on these issues, and we're gonna leave them to resolve it. Like, that to me is so crazy. Like, how are we gonna have people in office who weren't even dealing with this when they were 40? Didn't even in their time, didn't even have the same technological advances or anything. And we know and anyone who has grandparents or even elderly parents, to try to get them to use a computer and walk through them is freaking painful. Like, so it's just
Yeah, for sure.
But anyways, I wanted you to look into him. It's really interesting. He actually is very into politics and has ideas in terms of policy and stuff. Just look into it. We can talk
Oh,
about it
yeah,
next
oh,
time,
well,
but I'll
for
plant that
sure.
seed for you.
Alright, next topic, I want you to, kinda lead it off, because you really wanted to talk about Trump's health decline. Is it real or is it political?
For what?
Trump's health decline, do you think that is
Oh,
real or do you think it's political? Go ahead.
yeah. No. So I don't know if listeners know out there. There's a lot of like rumor talk about his health decline in terms of him having dementia
Mhm,
and things like that. I think it's real. Because if you look in the past of what some of the things that he's kind of been has done, um, he we know about that interview where he talked about Gavin Newsom being the president
mhm,
of the United States.
yeah.
Did you see that? Where he was like,
No, I
"President
didn't
Gavin
see
Newsom."
that.
And I don't think he was saying it facetiously because he kept referring it to him, and he kept talking about kind of like how he the way he goes about things, he wouldn't do it that way. Like,
Yeah. I, I keep on seeing him falling asleep. I see him
he
turn
also has
into,
the
like, the
dementia
last president.
stare where
Yeah.
he's, like,
Yeah.
smoking, but he's looking past, and, like, there's so many different, like, indications of his health just declining, and not only that, like, this dude's, like, 80 what right, 80 something years old.
Yeah, he's gonna be
He's
82 when he leaves office,
he's
if he
not
leaves
sharp.
office.
Like, I mean, and to be honest, it's almost hard to tell because I mean, I'm gonna say this, and I don't know if I'm gonna get a, black van outside my door and knocks on my door, but he's not very smart. And I go
I
back to the
wouldn't
whole math
disagree.
thing where, he did 600% markdown, like, and he also said, um, which Dr. Oz talked about this, I think we talked about this last time, how he said, he drinks Diet Coke because it kills
Mhm.
grass, so it has to kill cancer. Let's not
Yeah,
forget during the time of COVID when he was talking about taking, ivermectin and all these things like that, oh, because it helps prevent COVID, and he's convincing all his followers that, yeah, this is the way to do it, and then in the same breath gets a COVID vaccination. Like, he's not very bright. I'm saying it. I don't care. And, like, people who like, "Oh, but he is. He's such a great businessman." A great businessman with how many bankruptcies?
yeah.
How many times have you been caught grifting? He's not that bright. I don't care what anyone tells me. He is a
So,
nepotism who bullies people into his position, and that's how he got the way he is. The art of the deal is bullying.
yeah.
That's his art of the deal. That's it.
So, RFK said his diet is unhinged. Polling says that 48% of people say that his age is severely limiting him in his ability to govern. Uh, he has bruises on his hands, which indicates that he's possibly taken Alzheimer's drugs
Mhm,
to, offset that. His father had Alzheimer's.
mhm. And
Again,
it's
he's just old,
just
like,
yeah.
regardless of if he has Alzheimer's, whatever else is wrong with him, that man's almost 80 years old. Why the fuck are we having these geezers in our elected offices making decisions that are gonna affect not just our
Future
lives,
generations.
our kids' lives, their kids' lives. Like, again, I mean, I'm trying to be ageist, but, like, it's ridiculous. Why like, there
No,
needs
no,
to
no,
be
no, no,
age
no.
limit.
I'm so sick of people using, like, ageism and anti-sentimism, I can't even talk right, you know what I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
and keep
Mhm.
using that to, like, cover up, like, things that so I'm sorry, ageist. I'll be ageist for you, Adam. If you are not here to see the implications of what you do within the next 10 years, you should not be allowed in office. And yes, I understand people can turn around and get in a car accident and die at any time. But if you have a good chance that you're going to die from health reasons, you should not be in office dictating the future of our children when you won't even be here to see our children as adults. Sorry
Yeah,
about you. Hot take,
yeah.
but like
I
absolutely
agree.
not. And that's why I go back
I
to saying the youth needs to get more involved. Like if our youth was so charged like Nepal's youth, we wouldn't even be here right now. I said what I said. Jesus. Ugh.
For sure. Let's see here. Our next topic is, and this is gonna be our last topic of this, then we're gonna get into our, unmuted history side. So, our last
Yeah.
thing is gonna be, Tucker Carlson. This
Mm,
coming week, this last week, he said that he's off the Trump train. Can we trust him? Is he being, uh is he being a political actor and just getting off of singing shit? I think he's misleading people. I think Tucker, unfortunately, is very, very intelligent when it comes to, politics. I think that he will probably run for president. I don't think he's gonna if I was him, I wouldn't run for president in this coming cycle, but in 2020 and 2032, I would, because I think Democrats gonna sweep in these coming elections. But especially if it's an establishment Democrats the president, the next president, ain't shit gonna change. So people are still gonna be pissed off, and they're gonna want someone to point at the people that are fucking them, just like Trump did, and just like Zoran and other people are doing as well. I am
yeah.
really scared of Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
So Tucker Carlson, I don't fully trust him. I feel that he is on the right track with exposing how we're already basically occupied with the blue and white country. Because we are. I don't care what I say. That's my personal opinions. You guys, whatever. Again, all for entertainment purposes, all allegedly, but I feel like they are. And I can go into that all day. Like I can go back all the way back to the 1800s to why that they are involved. But I won't get into that right now because Adam knows I will talk forever. And I will probably get myself in trouble. But I don't know if you know this, and I think a lot of people actually don't know this, and this is why you are solid on not trusting Tucker Carlson because I don't know if you know this, his son Buckley Carlson, he was actually
Really?
hired in January 2025, which I don't think a lot of people notice this, as JD Vance's, he was hi is he, joined the dep as his deputy press secretary for JD Vance. He actually recently exited that role to start his own political consulting firm. So, yeah, I don't trust it at all. I feel like with every main character that we see in terms of the media right now, and I say character because we know the world is a stage, um, I think it's every single person is working on their own grift.
Yeah, I think so.
Every single person. Even
Yeah.
down so I was gonna say even down to Candace Owens, but to be honest,
She's
Candace
definitely
Owens,
a grifter as
girl,
well.
she is
I
a
think she's a
grifter in
grifter
her
as well.
own way. But at the same time, I think she has genuine reason for going off the rails. Um, and I'm gonna say this is a hot take. This has not been confirmed. This is my own personal opinion. I think honestly, like Charlie Kirk in a way was her almost in a way of her soulmate, and not necessarily in terms of like a romantic relationship, but like that, like, you know, that connection, like, because I have friends that think my soulmate, like, like your partner, like when we had to the podcasters, we had a falling out. My heart was so broken for that whole time, and I'm so happy that she's back in my life because, like, she's like
Yeah.
my, like, my I don't know how to say it, like, my
Mhm.
heart's connected,
Yeah.
and I feel like that
Yeah, I
was the
get it.
same for them. Like, if something like that happened to her, I would probably go off like Candace, right? And I would
Yeah.
be coming at you so hard. But, and I think there was a genuine, feeling, like, in terms of that. And so I think it's a little bit of that plus the grip. So it's hard for me to really talk about Candace, but Tucker, there's definitely a grift, but I also feel that he is his eyes are opening to that there is a lot more, this goes a lot deeper than he realized. I think he actually kinda scratched the surface, found out more, but then decided that this is gonna amplify my grift. I think him scratching the surface, those informations, it's like, "Hey, this is gonna further push me." So I think it's all
I honestly, I think I don't agree. I think that he is just in a lot of ways, like, he's evil, but a political genius. Because I think he's angling himself for a president run eventually. I think that he is gonna take which honestly, like, I've told you about the book, I told the listeners about the book. Honestly, I'm writing the book warning everyone against someone like Tucker Carlson, because I am fucking terrified of a competent
mm,
Trump,
yeah,
and Carlson is a competent Trump.
it's
Trump is
true.
a moron that has no discipline, doesn't understand anything about politics. He's
It's
just a
true.
really good con man. Tucker Carlson, on the other hand, is very, very smart.
Yeah.
He is very smart. He's very plugged in. He is able to read a room very well, and he doesn't give a shit about anything. So again, he is a grifter, so he can say whatever he wants to get elected. So I am terrified of someone like Tucker Carlson because he is a fucking fascist
No,
and a
I
smart
think that,
one.
yeah, I think that's kind of where connect what, like, what I was saying though, like, when I was talking about how him scratching the surface and it was like, "Oh, this can help my grip," is actually in terms of kind of what you're talking about. I'm talking about him scratching the surface of is not real and kind of digging into that to further boost him for his grift, and I feel like his grift is exactly what you're saying. Exactly. Like, he is definitely setting himself up for some political, um, position in a higher political position, and then that also circles back to Buckley, his son, starting a political consulting firm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Altogether a grift.
So I don't trust them. I think a lot of these grifters, like I think Kim Azonis is one. Alex Jones is one. Like like Joe Rogan, like a lot of these people are
Oh
getting off the
god,
Trump train
Joe Rogan.
because
Ugh.
like the saying goes, rats get off a sinking ship. They're getting off a sinking ship. I think the least of the Republican Party want to shiv Trump because he is very unpopular. I think they want to maybe try to put JD Vance in. But the problem with that is that's going to cause a civil war in the Republican Party because they're going to know that the elites did something to Trump.
Yeah.
So I think unless the Democrats run like a Gavin Newsom or some idiot like that, I don't mind Kamala
People
Harris, but
need
if they run her
yeah,
again,
people
what?
need to look in it.
Yeah.
I know we talked about this before, I had to plug it in. Look into Gavin Newsom. He is not as sparkly shiny as people think he is, okay? He is also a grifter, and he is not good for the presidency. If you really know his background, don't do it, guys. Don't do it. Oh, sorry, Adam. I had to get into that because
Um,
just keep saying people are like,
I,
"Yeah,
I would
Gavin
take I would take
Newsom,"
Gavin
and I'm like,
Newsom over Kamala Harris. Honestly, I personally I like Kamala Harris, but she's not a good politician, unfortunately. Um,
and it's unfortunate, and I'm saying this out loud, these are my personal views, all for entertainment purposes, allegedly. I think she's an alcoholic too. I said what I
okay,
said.
well, I don't know, but I I
I'm just
think a lot of
saying.
these people probably do a lot of things, but,
But if you're in politics, I'd probably drink too. So no, no
yeah,
shame, girl.
yeah,
No
I don't
shame.
I don't I don't get it. I don't blame them. I think again, I think that, they're getting off his sinking ship. I think they wanna put JD Vance in, but
100%. He's handpicked by Teal.
yeah.
100%.
So, that's really all I gotta say about that. We can, end this, and then we can get into, King Leopold if you want to, or if you have anything
Yeah.
else to say.
Are we doing a separate episode or are we going to continue on this one?
We can do, continue on this one
Okay.
if you
Yeah,
wanted
let's
this.
just get into it.
Alright, this is gonna be our, history side of our, podcast, and we're focusing on, King Leopold II of Belgium and his terror on the Congo and Africa.
Mm,
So, um, one person has some of the most shocking things to ever exist about him. One
Yep.
man personally owned a country, not government. One person owned a country. And I want to let that sit for you, everyone, for a second, because that's wild. And that man was personally owned a country, not reigned as president, not governed as king. He owned it like property, like business. That country was 76 times the size of its home of Belgium. He covered most of Central America. It covers most of Central Africa. Sorry.
Yeah, and he owned it
Basically,
for like 24 years from
yeah,
1885 to 1908.
yeah. And today it is the Democratic Republic of Congo. So there's estimated 10 million people died under his rule. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. That's more than
Yeah.
uh, the people in World War II. So, oh, Wolfer. Ah. This his soldiers collected several human hands in baskets, and that's not an exaggeration. That's from missionary reports of photographers and British government investigations. And most people have never heard of him. His name is King Leopold II, King of Belgium, and what he did to the Congo between 1885 to 1908 is one of the worst things in human history.
Yeah.
See here, how many people even know about him? I honestly didn't know about him until seeing the things on Twitter and how like Black Twitter would say like, yes, the mustache man was awful, but no one even talks about King Leopold, what he did.
Yeah. It's and that goes back to what we talked about in the beginning episodes of History Unmuted. Things are footnotes that should be paragraphs, and things, that are paragraphs, like, should really be more extensive, include even more things, and I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, he essentially used the Free State of Congo and the Congolese people as just his basically his own giant plantation and slavery, and just used it to just make himself astronomically rich. And I think it's just and and then what kills me even to today is that they don't understand, even the Congolese people in the Congo, even today, are oppressed and occupied. Like, people need to understand this. It's
Yeah.
like they don't have a good history, just like the Haitian people too. Like, but I'm looking into that. But yeah, and they really went after, like, the natural resources in the Congo, and not only that, they were really, like, focusing on getting ivory, um, in terms of, like, the elephants and things out there,
Mm.
of course, their forced labor systems and, obtaining all these natural different resources, and that's when it goes back to what you were talking about in terms of, like, cutting off the hands and stuff. If these people did not provide their quotas, they would get their hands cut off. And this is not even like a new practice because I talk about this when I talked about Christopher Columbus. I think it's like hi- histories, our episode like 6 or 7. I can't recall which episode it was, but I talked about the Haitian people. Christopher Columbus did the same thing to them. If they did not bring
Mm.
back gold, he would chop off their hands. I don't know if it's a European thing.
Yeah, that's fine. So, next thing we're gonna talk about is how he got to Congo. Hey, Congo. So Leopold wanted a colony his entire life, but the Belgian government said no. Again, they were a small country, no navy, and no empire. So Leopold went around his government to get his own government. In 1876, he hosted a big international conference in Brussels. He invited explorers, scientists, and do-gooders, told everyone he wanted to bring civilization to Africa, and the Arabian slave trade was a front. He set up a fake humanities organization as his vehicle. Again, like, I want everyone to put in the comments, like, did anyone even know about this in school when they went to school? Like, that's wild that no one's ever even talked about these type of things. So,
Yeah,
he
and
hired
also
this.
oh, sorry, to also connect this too, which if you guys even recall a previous episode that we did for about human zoos, that person Otabenga, he was a Congolese person from the Congo, and he was actually taken during the time of King Leopold II's rule, and he was actually forced to live in the Bronx Zoo with
Yeah.
monkeys, and people paid like 25 cents to watch him fight over food with different apes, fight for food.
Yeah. A lot of powerful and evil people use humanitarian work as cover for their crimes. Um, that's happened through history, it happens today as well. So, King Leopold is not by himself when it comes to that. So, he hired this dude, Henry, Morton Stanley, to go to the Congo and get local chiefs to sign treaties. Most of these chiefs couldn't even read English. So Stanley got about 450 of them to sign. Some of those treaties were later doctored to give Leopold even more of a sense of agreement. So about 450 of them signed with African leaders who could not read what they were signing. Then they came to the Berlin Conference between 1884 to 1885, where Europe powers carved up Africa. Leopold showed up with his treaties and his humanitarian pitch. He promised free trade, no import tax for 20 years, and protection of the native population. The United States recognized him first, then the Europeans followed. As Americans always involved with something.
Always.
Um,
Mhm,
so I wanna express that America
mm,
recognized him kinda like how
mhm,
they did with the Mustache Man too. Weird how that works.
mhm, right?
And, how our government essentially said, "Yeah, that guy's should own the Congo. We don't we don't really give a shit. He can do whatever he wants." So, they didn't even give a shit that they gave the Congo to Belgium. It just happened. They gave it to Leopold personally. It was legally his property, and he called it
Mhm.
the Congo Free State. And it was neither free nor was it a state.
Nope. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's really great that journalists really exposed King Leopold II. And that's why it's really important to document history, even now. Things that are happening now in the current world, in the political world, like document it because history, and I said this on the previous podcast and I'll say it again. It's almost like if you recall being in school and someone spreading a rumor. Okay, the rumor that is spread the most and is the most like compelling story is usually the one that sticks whether it's the truth or not, and that is the same that comes with history. So it's really important to speak up. That's also why it's really kind of depressing almost in a way that these journalists are bending the knee to this administration because during the time of King Leopold II, there was E.D. Morel and Roger Casement, and they were journalists in the early 1900s that exposed these humanitarian crimes to the world. There was even different writers like Joseph Conrad who wrote The Heart of Darkness, which was inspired by the Congo to spread awareness of these atrocities that are happening. Um, I get a military is a lot of times our frontline people, but I don't think people understand journalists and press, they are the true frontline people. They are there in the mix and they're in there a lot of times unarmed. And like it's crazy too that a lot of people don't understand that press are live in these situations. They go there in battle wearing suited up and in their own sort of like protective vests and helmets and things like that, documenting these things. They are truly the front line voices, and they are always the ones really to speak out against atrocities and let the world be known. So that's why it's really just sad to see our journalists these days. But it's great that these journalists managed to be able to expose King Leopold II and his just absolute atrocities just for freaking ivory and rubber. Like that's oh, sorry to go off on a tangent, Adam, but it's really important that people know.
No,
Journalism
you're
is
fine, you're
important.
fine.
Thank you to all the
So,
journalists who are still true to this day.
of course, the first thing that, was taken from the Congo was ivory from
Yeah.
elephant tusks, but they figured out that rubber was way more profitable. So they
Mhm.
started focusing on rubber exports. So in 1892, there was 250 tons. By 1896, there was 1,200 tons. And by 1902, rubber was 80% of the Congo's exports. So Leopold, this is pretty much how it worked. So Leopold, he declared that two-thirds of the entire country would be his personal land. The people living there weren't allowed to sell anything to anyone but him. Every village got rubber quotas. You had to deliver a certain amount of rubber on a regular schedule. No negotiations, no uh, no negotiations, no payment, just a quota. If you don't meet the quota, Leopold's prior army would show up and keep your wife and kids hostage, cut your hands off, like Nichole was saying, and do a lot of terrible
Yeah, they
things.
even did that to the children too.
Yeah. And all this rubber went to Europe. All the money went to Leopold, and he used it to buy palaces and public works in Belgium. So, the most beautiful buildings in Brussels that tourists take pictures of today were built with money from the Congo people under slave labor. And that's not even a metaphor. That is a common fact. And Leopold personally made about 1.25 billion euros in today's money from this system. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a terror. So Leopold's prior army was called the Force something. I can't pronounce that. But by 1900, it was about 19,000 soldiers, African
Oh, the
men
force
led
publique.
by, say it again?
I'm sorry, the force publique.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
And it was led by African men by European officers. Many of these European soldiers, African soldiers, had been kidnapped as children from villages, raised in mission schools, and trained to be soldiers. And that was just one of the other things that Leopold did. He was he was a monster. Like it's crazy. The main weapon was to terrorize the people of the Congo every day. And his soldiers would make whips from dry hide. They would whip people on bare skin, men, women, children, and they weren't officially banned until 1955, 5 years before the Congo got independence. And this is part everyone remembers and needs to be understood clearly, but bullets were expensive, so they imported them from Europe. Officers didn't want soldiers wasting ammo on hunting, so they created a rule: for every bullet you fire, you had to bring back a human hand to prove that you used that bullet on a person, not an animal. That's one of the reasons why they
Yes,
cut people's
they
hands
were
off.
cutting off just not only from alive people too, they also cut it off the dead bodies, so they desecrated dead bodies as well to kind of justify their actions in terms of using these bullets, and it's just
Yeah,
it's gross. It's
yeah,
absolutely horrific.
it is. That accounting system turned civil hands into currency. Soldiers started collecting hands to meet quota instead of rubber. They cut hands off of living people, off of children,
Mhm.
and they made baskets baskets full of hands delivered to European officers at their posts. A Swedish missionary reported that soldiers told him a commission promised to shorten their military service if they brought back more hands. Hands became a way to be promoted. Villages refused to cooperate. They burned them to the ground. Families were massacred as an example. Children and women were taken hostage, raped, starved, and sexual violence was widespread and epidemic. So essentially, this weren't just bad actors. This was a system working exactly as designed. The terror wasn't a side effect, it was a business model. So again, they're essentially just terrorizing Congo and exploiting the people, murdering the people, and doing whatever they can to these poor Congo people.
It's
So
true.
you hear the number $10 million, 10 million made a lot.
Mhm.
Excuse me. That comes from historian Adam Hongschild. He wrote a book about King Leopold the Ghost. Came out in 1998. That's where you got that from. The first census was held in 1924. It counted about 10 million people. The Belgian government commissioned a uh, a thing in 1919 that concluded that that the population had been roughly cut in half. Half of that 20 million, about 10 million people lost. They commissioned a census. And here's a range from credible historians. The low end is about a million people. Uh, the more likely uh, end is about 5 to 10, and the high end is about 15. So
Yeah, which a lot of people may be listening and think, "Oh my god, a million people, 10, 15 million people." But again, like we said earlier, that this lasted 24 years. These people were a couple decades in this oppression and this brutality. Like, that's it's insane.
and
Which I just I mean,
yeah, of course, that's awful.
speechless.
And the
Yeah.
man who did all these crimes mostly destroyed the evidence. So we're never going to really know what the true
The
number
full
is.
extent of it, and that's horrific to even think about, and I honestly think unmeeting this part of history is a great segue, which I don't know if you agree, which I think we should talk about on the next episode, and talk about US and how we annexed Hawaii, because not that it was under the exact similar kind of circumstances, but it again was down to business and wanting to take resources and to use these people to their advantage. And also, if you learn about the annex of Hawaii and their queen was a Lulu Kalani, if you really look into it and know it, you will never look at the Dole Company again. And yes, that is the Dole, as in Dole bananas, the fruit, the Dole whipped ice cream that everyone so just loves. They did also atrocities to Hawaii, and the queen stepped up to protect her people. And we can definitely, if you're cool with that, I think we should get into that next time because I'm actually very shocked on how many people do not understand how we gained Hawaii and that we didn't even have Hawaii during Pearl Harbor. It wasn't even a US state yet.
That's crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, so George Washington Williams, a black African Black American, was a Civil War veteran, minister, and historian. So he went to the Congo and he saw the atrocities, and he wrote a letter to Leopold calling out the brutality. He was one of the first outsiders to see the atrocities, and most people never even heard of him. So he was one of the first people to really start blowing a whistle on the crimes that the Leopold in Belgium was allowing. So just like a lot of wealthy, powerful people, nothing really went against Leopold. So by 1906, the international pressure was too much. The U.S., the British, the French, and Germany all demanded Belgium to take control away from Leopold. Well, Leopold just didn't hand it over. He negotiated a payout, $100 million for his debts, $45 million for his building projects, another $50 million for his in the future for Congo revenue. So altogether, it's about 250 million francs. And before he gave up control, he burned all the records as he could. He died in 1909. Crowds booed his funeral, and Belgium has spent the next century building statues of him. So, from a colony to crisis,
Yeah, and
Belgium
just to
ran.
add, so for people,
Yeah,
though, the 250 million francs in terms of, like, US dollars in the 1900s would equal to about 48.2 million US dollars. Just to throw that little
yeah, thank you so much.
tidbit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. I've been going off screen a little bit. I've been really sick. That's why I haven't been really making any TikToks this last week. So, been coughing, but I'm trying. So, Belgium ran as a colony from 1908 to 1960, and the worst violence decreased, but forced labor continued. Belgium invested almost nothing in education. In 1960, fewer than 30 universities, people that went to university graduated in the entire country. Only about 20 African military officers were in training. And the this person, Patrice Leponte, I don't know if I'm saying that right, became the first democratically elected PM. At the independence ceremony, Belgian king lectured the Congo people about being grateful for the colonization. And the new PM gave an unscripted speech calling out everything that Belgium has done to the people. Within months, Belgium helped Karga something. Sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing some of these words. But the Belgian troops entered without permission, and Belgium still controlled about 70% of the economy through one bank. The CIA and Belgium worked together to remove that elected PM. He was captured, tortured, and executed by firing squad. The Belgian officer body was put in acid and was never found. And the officers kept his tooth as a piece. That Belgium didn't return his tooth to 2022. In 2002, Belgium admitted that they were responsible for that PM's death. In 2025, Belgium is requesting a diplomatic tie for all the war crimes connected to it. And just like a lot of other things, of course, the CIA has a lot to do with overthrowing elected leaders. That's
That
nothing new.
part.
For the most of the 20th century, Belgium didn't teach, and left Leopold's statue standing. In 2010, a European Parliament member called Leopold's vision called Leopold a visionary hero. The book about King Leopold's ghost came out in 1998. It was rejected by pretty much every publisher, but it still, luckily, sold 600,000 copies in 12 languages. I don't know if you remember, but in the 2020 BLM protests, Belgium, protesters tore down Leopold's statue, which honestly, that's kind of when I first even heard about him. And King, uh, the king had deep regrets, but did not formally apologize. And meanwhile, there is about $24 trillion in untapped mineral wealth for your batteries, for your phones, and everything else that still one of the poorest countries in the world cannot get. And if they could get, they would be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. But of course, just like anything, the first world takes advantage of the third world.
It's true.
All right. And I'm going to close with this. And why does this matter most in history? The first Congo Free State gave us the first international human rights movement. The phrase crimes against humanity was coined because of what happened there. But Congo also shows that how structural violence works across generations. You build a system, you strip every institution, you kill anyone who tries to change it. Then 100 years later, people that were still benefiting from those things that were put on hold refuse to talk about and come to terms with the crimes that they have done. America is no exception to that. Leopold's Congo was in the ancient history. Belgium returned the tooth in 2002. A Belgian diplomat is being tried for war crimes right now. The DRC is still fighting for control of their own resources. 10 million people, give or take, had their hands cut off, the villages burned, the women and children murdered, and other things happened to them. And all we got from all we really understand that it was one man's responsibility, but that's not how everything works. Is a lot of decisions by a lot of people in power. One evil person did this, but a lot of other evil people allowed it.
Yeah, and I
And
think it's really important to even talk about this now because, like I kind of stated earlier, the Democratic Republic of Congo is actually currently experiencing severe, multifaceted crises in terms of intense violence, systemic human rights abuse, again, and as well as widespread humanitarian suffering. There are several. Reports of more than 26 million people right now in the Congo that are facing severe hunger, and millions actually have been displaced from their homes, living in desperate camps around Goma. There is the other armed groups have been testified attacks on civilians in terms of North Kivu, South Kivu, and Ituri provinces. And that's with the ADF, which is the Allied Democratic Forces, along with the Rwanda backed M24 rebel group. And they are specifically targeting Christian communities. And they're using massacres, abductions, and also destructions of churches in that area. There's also attack currently on civilian and infrastructures. So the civilians again force are getting constant threats, forcing forced displacement, extortion, as well as killings. They have used even drones um, against these civilians, causing significant civilian casualties. Even journalists in the area are facing danger, caught between the Congolese army as well as the M23 rebels. Um, Leading to different arrests and censorship of these journalists. And again, when we talk about journalists and how important they are for this situation, it is
er,
because I think a lot of people actually don't understand what's happening in the Congo. And also their population. Like I said, the Christians are being attacked, but not only that, the children. Children are being abducted and killed and used by the army as army people, like the children. Um, children soldiers. So they're being taken to be used as that. There's just a lot of just different grave abuses also being documented or reported in terms of these combat areas. So the Congo, even though, yes, with all this happened with King Leopold and they brought attention to it, and this is what I was talking about, how they're still oppressed to this day. This has not ended. Um, the Congolese people are still not free,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate, but it's what's happening right now.
It is really unfortunate, and, I, uh, I think we, especially in this country, don't wanna come to facts that there's a lot of terrible things that we've done, and there's a lot of terrible things that we allowed. And the Belgian people, the Belgian government are slowly coming to terms with that as well.
I honestly feel
And
like the Belgian was actually really actually wanted to have any sort of repentance to what they did. I get it. It was the 1800s to early 1900s. I understand that. But if they really want to have repentance to these people that they oppressed for so long, they should step in because what's happening right now in the Congo, that's really bad. The main reason why it's happening, it's because like no one's holding these things accountable. These groups against them accountable. If they really wanted to show repentance, I feel like Belgium should step in and help save the Congo. Sorry, had to put in that 2 cents because
yeah, of course. Yeah.
it's sickening.
It is sickening. I am glad we
And
really covered
sorry,
this,
to
but
also add, I feel like more people would give a crap and step in if they had lighter skin tone. I said what I said.
mm, yeah. I'm glad we covered this. This is very important. Um, again, like when we cover the history aspect of this
Mhm.
podcast, there's a lot of things that we cover that aren't taught in your schools, aren't widely discussed in mainstream media.
And it's all by
There's a
design,
reason. Yep, there's all by design. There's a reason for that. Because the powerful in this country and pretty much the world wants to cover up their crimes and continue doing the crimes.
yep. It goes back to
If
everything they
you, yeah, if you don't have anything else to say, we can end this episode.
Yeah, so definitely, guys, catch us next time where we talk about the current happenings in the world, as well as I'm meaning history and talking about elections. We're just kind of hitting it all. So definitely tune in with us next week, and uh, hope to guys catch you there. And in the meantime, catch us on TikTok.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, bye.